everyone, how's it going? My name is Jay and welcome to the channel, and welcome back to October Lake in Planet 2, a project where we're aiming to build this really large park situated in the Canadian Highlands. In today's episode, we're not going to be focusing on an animal, but instead a little bit of infrastructure in this shorter than usual episode. We are going to be building a bridge that kind of spans from one end of the lake to the other. If that sounds good to you, and if you do like today's video, please do consider leaving a like on the video, and of course do subscribe for more Planet Zoo content. I upload every Wednesday at 5 PM UK time. Now with that intro out of the way, let's talk about today's episode, which like I said, it's going to be quite a short one today. Really, I didn't have an awful lot of time, and I really still haven't quite decided which animal we're going to do next. We still have lots of space. The zoo is getting a little bit cramped, but we do have loads of space, as you can see in the background of these shots here when we're building the bridge. We have, the other side of the lake. We have all that space near the shoreline of the side we've been working on. Really quite a lot to work with, so we've got plenty of space, and I think we're starting to go focusing on some of the more local animals to this environment. So like I said, this is based in the Highlands of Canada. And of course we want to include lots of North American megafauna. We have things like the bison, the timber wolves, the brown bears, things like that I always wanted to include in this park. It might be a little bit tricky to kind of work them in because they all require quite large habitats, and we don't have really necessarily the best amount of space for it. So I've been thinking about ways as to how to incorporate these animals, but not quite there yet. So hence why this week we're doing a bit of a shorter one, primarily with infrastructure work, and then we're going to have lots of cinematics of the zoo as it is now. You're going to see lots of the animals we've been kind of introducing to the park as of lately, and even some of the older ones. It's actually really quite nice, the cinematics at the end, because most of them happen to be asleep, so you get so much adorable footage of these animals. We will see some of the penguins. We have a baby seal, super cute. We have loads of these adorable animals that you'll be able to see kind of just enjoying their life here in October Lake, and that's one of my favorite parts of the zoo. And between recording, sometimes I love just coming into the save file and just looking at the animals, watching them hang out, go about their lives. It's really one of the best parts of the game, is how the animals behave and how they really function as real animals. And honestly, I love it. It teaches us so much about how the animals would be in real life, in zoos, and also in the wild, and I just love it. But anyways, aside from chatting about the zoo as a whole and plans for the future, in today's episode we've just been building this bridge here. Now, one thing I've wanted to do for a while is have October Lake connect to the outside world a lot more. I don't want the zoo to kind of just feel like it's been plopped in the middle of nowhere. As fine as that is, and it has been fine for the most part, of course the habitats are the feature, I think it would be nice to just connect it to the outside world, make it feel like there's more to this, and there's a way for people to get in, for people to get out. And I think this bridge is like the first step of bringing that connectivity to the outside world into the zoo. And of course we're making just a standard stone arch bridge. I want it to look very chunky, very old, like this is a historical bridge that was here long before, the zoo was ever here. It's not really based on any particular bridge or architecture style. I just thought it looked kind of nice, and I kind of went with my vague memory of what bridges look like. And I think it turns out looking pretty nice. It's got some wood in it, some stone, or lots of stone anyways. And I think it ends up looking really nice, and it really serves as a good backdrop to the rest of the zoo as well. So when you're in the zoo itself, walking around and stuff, you see this bridge in the background, and I think it looks really quite nice. So you can see it just covers this shorter part of the lake. The lake, of course, as a whole is a very thin shape. It's a long sliver of a lake. And having this bridge cross over one of the narrower points, I think makes sense. I think it ends up looking quite nice and really fleshes out the zoo a bit more. And as we go forward, I would like to kind of introduce more of these outside elements. One of them being maybe an actual entry point to the zoo. Of course, previously to this episode, and since the first episode, kind of my in-universe explanation for how people get in is through that tunnel near the front of the zoo. What I'm thinking of doing is getting rid of that whole thing, reshaping and introducing a proper, more fleshed out entrance, and then from there maybe a car park, something like that, and then we have a way for people to directly come in, maybe another tunnel somewhere with another road system. We'll figure it out, but essentially I would like more of that connectivity. Now adding in just some flora around here, a lot of big trees, very similar to the rest of the zoo, and kind of the surrounding mountainside. As you can see, we're building quite close to the border of the actual map here, so you can see those white dotted lines, which don't worry, I get rid of for the cinematics. It shows you where the map actually ends, and it does just about there, the edge of the lake. So we're building very, very close, and this bridge also kind of serves as a little reminder for me not to build much further than this. I tried adding in some ivy here, but I ended up looking a bit too busy, a bit too cluttered, so I left it as is. Adding in some just debris around here, like some wooden, some broken trees and things like that have floated down. And this is kind of the finished bridge. And I think it ends up looking really quite nice. Here, as a final thing, I'm just going to build a little couple entryways into the mountainside itself. So where it kind of goes into the tunnels, I imagine there'll be a little bit of a shelter structure. Again, wanted it to look quite old, quite historical, like this has been here forever and it's just been maintained relatively decently, but otherwise has not been modernized or upgraded. So I think it ends up looking quite cool. But yeah, other than that, that's it for today's episode. Very short one, of course. I again just didn't have an awful lot of time this week and have not quite decided what's next. Hopefully next week we'll have a bit of a longer episode as well. I feel like I say that most weeks, but I do quite like the shorter episodes as well. I feel like it gives us lots of breathing room, allows us to focus on individual projects like this, and it's still quite a lot of fun for me, honestly. So I hope you enjoyed that. We have so many cinematics after this, not just of the bridge, but of course of the rest of the animals, so I really hope you enjoy that. Loads of super cute animals all having a nap or just exploring their habitats, so definitely stick around for those. Do leave a like on the video if you did like it, of course, subscribe for more Planet Zoo content as usual, and as always, I will see you all in the next video. Bye!